wildfire response public information officer here involved in this. And as we mentioned, the news has been pretty reassuring that progress is being made on containment. No structures have been burned across the Superior National Forest and the Boundary Waters Canoe area, and somewhat 70% of the entry points or so are now open for people to go back in there. Where do we stand right now? I want to get into some of the details about the logistics of fighting a fire, but just give us a brief update if you can about where things stand right now.
Yeah, so the number of fires within the July lightning incident has been kind of like fluctuating. Like we're down to maybe like 5 or 6 major fires that we're still dealing with as we've kind of wrapped up other fires. So those numbers seem to shift, but for the 5-6 fires that we're currently managing, we're up to about 65,100 acres. And then containment, depending on the fire, containment is as low as 21%, all the way up to 65% on others. So we're at different stages with different fires, but all in all, everything is going in the right direction. So we've been really happy with how things have progressed in the last week.
Now, let's talk about this too, about the efforts here. This is such a massive area and requiring at one point, I think it topped 1,000 personnel, and then you have aircraft. I mean, how do you put together a strategy for fighting this number of fires spread out so far in remote areas? I mean, the logistics here are impressive.
It is, and I always kind of say managing an incident, any incident, is part science, just because it is this puzzle piece. You have the personnel, you have the resources, you have the topography, and all of that, and basically you get all these pieces and you stitch together a plan to make it work. And so the way things have been going up here, we've been having personnel on all the fires, and some fires were able to get contained and under control more quickly than others. And so as the peripheral fires got under control, we were able to redirect and add resources to the other ones that were kind of like stagnant, like they were still burning, but they weren't going anywhere. And so we were able to just sort of, tend to those with aircraft just to keep them at the size that they're at. And now we have a little more flexibility where we can push people up there to more directly extinguish the flames. And so that's about the stage where we are now. Yeah,
and I heard some of that through the updates too, where they would mention, the morning update that I would see on social media from the Forest Service, it's mentioning which fires are on monitor status, that they're still burning, but a couple of times a day, we're just going to fly over them and make sure that there's no problem there. And in the meantime, some of those you just kind of let be.
Yeah, and that might sound disconcerting to some people, but at the same time, that's sort of the reality of the ecosystem up here. In a boreal forest, because the temperatures are so cool, that layer of duff and litter on the forest floor, it doesn't decompose that quickly. And so you can have 2 feet of duff layer that fire can kind of like hunker down and hide in. And so sometimes those smokes won't be visible, or you won't see the heat signature, but it just takes the temperature rising or to get some direct sun on a spot, and then that heat will start to manifest itself again. And so that's why you'll hear people say that this fire truly won't be out until winter comes, just because the ecology around here makes it so easy for the fire to hide. So so we're just kind of doing the best that we can with what we can find and what we can get to.
Yeah, but again, making that choice, which, as you say, might sound odd to people about certain fires that you just sort of let burn and just keep an eye on them.
Right. And so that was kind of the thing is, when we knew that certain fires weren't going anywhere, it's like, okay, well, let's knock out the fires that we can, because we knew that these other fires weren't going anywhere. And now we're actually getting up there. And so that's the point where we are now. Probably our most northernmost fire is the one that we're diverting people to. And the interesting part about where we are with this fire, especially this northern one, the thumb fire that we're really starting to hammer, is it's not as simple as just flying firefighters up there and dropping them off in a helicopter. The area is so remote that we had to have individuals up there just scouting, just to see where the topography could even handle a helicopter. And so they have to like drop some points in, and then the helicopter flies to it, and from their vantage point they decide, yes, that makes sense, or do we need to widen the area, or is the ground too soft, so now we have to like lay down some logs so if a helicopter were to land, it doesn't sink into the bog. And so it's not just as easy as pointing to a map and just sending people in. And so that's what we're doing today. We have a remote radio repeater, so that way when our firefighters are up there, they can actually talk to each other. So it's so remote that our radios weren't effective there, and so we need to make sure that we had that safety measure in place. We're getting, I'm trying to think of the a remote weather station too. This area is so remote that the permanent weather stations in the area, they can give us somewhat of an idea of what the weather's doing, but we're actually going to install a portable one, so that way we're getting really finite specific information, because all of that weather and meteorological data influences fire behavior. And so if we're going to be putting people in such a remote location, we need to know that they have the best information, that we can keep them safe. And so that's why we're in the process of fighting that fire, but there's all of this logistical stuff that's a little bit more involved than in normal operations. And
that's what makes it very interesting about, again, the strategy that you have to take in such a vast area. And I saw too, the rangers or the guides that were teaching firefighters that are not from this area, that have been brought in on basics of canoeing into the boundary waters.
Right. Yep. And so I believe the Superior National Forest, they're willing to have taught more than 400 firefighters so far. And I was actually with that South Carolina crew a week or so ago when they went through the training, and it was kind of fun watching them kind of get oriented to it all, because it was new and foreign to a lot of them. And then 5 days later, they're paddling out to the line to do their jobs, and it was impressive to see that kind of baby bird leave the nest. So they did great.
Yeah, and then also we mentioned, I heard the governor the other day at a briefing earlier this week talking about just the effort it takes to feed everybody. And he mentioned a certain vendor, I guess, that was brought in just to provide all the meals. That's something you don't think about, but you've got 1,000 people here that need to be fed.
Right, and that's how it is on any incident. We kind of talked about fire camp being its own city. We have mobile shower units brought in, we have laundry, we have all of these things. Teams are brought out for about 2 to 3 weeks at a time, but a fire can last months. So we do bring in all of that infrastructure just to sustain ourselves, especially in a remote location. You can't just go down the street to buy a burger or something. We have to be pretty self-contained.
There's no Uber Eats coming in remote areas of the forest. We got to run, but one last question involves the future here. What are we looking at in terms of how many people will be there for how long, or what does it step down to over what period of time?
Things will gradually ramp down, but again, as far as the fire itself, they are saying that it's going to take that winter, but there's no real way of projecting that. The one thing too, the National Forest here, they're the ones that administer the boundary waters, and that's what people really are concerned about, is when they can get back in. And I feel like the forest is working really hard to open areas back up when they can safely do so, to let people enjoy it as soon as possible. And so I think they're really doing a good job of working with us and the public to let people enjoy it as soon as possible.
All right, Paul, thanks for the time today. Appreciate it. Glad we got the camera situation worked out. The information has been very interesting.
All right, thanks a lot.
You bet. Talk to you later. The Wildfire Response Public Information Officer, again, about the strategy, the tactics, just the logistics, as you mentioned, a giant puzzle piece, trying to get people into the right spots over a vast area that is not always easy to get to.